Steven Milhausen here from DAZN. A big week in combat sports. It ends on Sunday night from the Now Arena right outside of Chicago, Illinois. You can watch it on the BR Live app. You can watch it on traditional pay-per-view here in the United States. They will be teaming up with Wardlow to face Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. In my mind and a lot of other people's, the best tag team in the world. They are the IWGP, the AAA, and the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, FTR, and the best tag team in the world, but you have the worst hat in the world, Mr. Wheeler.
Oh, I thought you were looking at your own little camera down there.
Oh, my head is beautiful. Camouflage. You just got the generic A.
I wish I couldn't see that hat. I wish the camouflage worked. But besides that, pretty great introduction. I appreciate you hitting so many high points for us.
I try. You are the best tag team in the world. You hold 3 of the major tag team titles, and so I think we've hit. I don't think there's never been a team in my recollection. I don't know if you guys noticed. I don't remember a team that's ever had 3 of the major tag titles at the same time.
There's no one that has. There's also no one that's had 7 prestigious World Tag Team Championships on their resume. So we have 7 World Tag Team Championships, and I don't think anybody else recognized World Tag Team Champions, not the NCWFP World Tag Team Championships.
Those might be next, though.
It might be next, but legit World Tag Team Championships, 7 of them, 2 of them times 2. So that's 9? Let's go. 9-time World Tag Team Champions.
I wasn't even going to start there, but since we're starting at this point, a lot of great tag teams of all time. And you got the Harts, the Bulldogs. You can bring up the Hardys, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, the Road Warriors. It can go on and on. Rock and Roll Express. But does it make you, what you guys have done to this point, does it make you the best tag team of all time, or does it put you in that conversation in your guys' mind?
I'm going to speak humbly. I would never put. Maybe when I retire, when I can't get heat for it, I guess, I would never put us in a category above, say, a Midnight Express, only because their body of work speaks for itself in a very competitive time. In the 80s, there were tag teams, for both companies that, will go down as the greatest tag teams of all time. But Bobby and Dennis completely changed the whole outlook of tag team wrestling, but they also completely changed the whole style of tag team wrestling. Before Bobby and Dennis, there was never really that fast-paced in and out tag teams. And the great tag teams were like Gene and Ole, when they would just come in and beat on you for a little bit, you know what I mean? And then the baby faces would get a little comeback, but then shut you right back down. With Bobby and Dennis, they created a style that was athletic, and they created a style where they worked around their baby faces and made the contest more fun to watch, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm extremely proud of our body of work, of the careers we've had so far, what we've been able to accomplish. Like he was saying, it's hard to ever put yourself above those guys, and it was a different time period too. The amount of travel they had to do, not having the guarantees that some people have, having to make your way from town to town pretty much on your own, not having the luxury of flights as much as we do these days. It was just a different time period, a different beast, and those guys had to be out there away from home, away from family, working through every single injury. So what they were able to accomplish and the legacy they were, and look at how the reach we have today, the platforms we have, you can watch anything from anywhere. You didn't have that back then. So for them to leave so much behind in an era where not everything's captured on tape, not everything's etched in history, they still did it, and they still changed everything for how things are done now. So it's hard.
I will say, however, that if you ask Dennis and you ask Arn Anderson who the best tag team is, they'll say us. They'll say that we were better than we were. So
yeah, but who'd they ever beat?
We could have an hour conversation on that one. Because what I originally wanted to start with was, and I know you guys know this being historians of the business, today is 30 years since Bret Hart and the British Bulldog from over 80,000 people at Wembley Stadium. One of the all-time great matches in the history of that show, and to me of all time. And I know you guys are big Bret fans. Where does that match rank for you guys in terms of Bret Hart matches?
I'll defer.
Man, I've never thought about the rankings of the match, but I think that match, along with Bret and Perfect, which was the year prior, ushered in a whole different style. I mean, the Intercontinental Championship was always the championship, the workhorse championship, right? But I think those two matches, but especially the Bulldog match, are ushered in a new style that did have those false finishes towards the end. You know, the multiple false finishes that built and built and built. They went about almost 30 minutes, and you know, it was a faster paced style than the WWF audience was used to. But they could still continue to connect the dots with the wrestling, the headlock takeovers and the scissors locks. And then the match just kept progressing, you know, and that's something I think sometimes a lot of wrestlers today forget, or maybe they don't understand, but you can't go from 0 to 100 and then back to 40. You know what I'm saying? Like you've got to progress. And that match is so beautiful because it does slowly progress, you know, and it does pick up. And those beats that make a great professional wrestling match is what that was about. And everything that Bret and Bulldog did in that match, it did progress it, and it did take the match from a different level. And you never knew who was going to win. I think in the back of the minds of everybody in the arena that night, Bulldog was going to win, but they did such a great tricking them and making them say, God, maybe he doesn't, you know. Where would I rank it? The Bret matches, man, I don't know. To be honest, I like as a match, maybe not an atmosphere, but as a match, I like the Bret Bulldog match from In Your House, December '95, better than I do that one. So I don't know.
That was a great one too.
I think I would put it like pretty high up, but there are a lot of other Bret matches that I could go back and watch regularly and just pick up something new in. But I think a big thing about that one too is like atmosphere makes matches so much more special a lot of the time. And like Wembley with Davey Boy being there and like the setting in general made that match like one that it elevates it. Like even though the in-ring work was top notch and fantastic, like just having that atmosphere elevates it even more. So I would say it's pretty high up there for me, but I don't know if I would say top 3, top 5, something like that.
You know, I wanted to get this part of the conversation out of the way. Me and Dax were talking about this before you came on, Case, and I wanted to get your thoughts as well before we started recording. And there is a report out there. I don't know if you've seen the report, and about you guys not being in the upcoming AEW video game. There's a report that you guys are upset, and that because you guys aren't going to be in the game. Let's get if you guys know about it, can give your thoughts on it, just on this recent report that is out there from Fightful.
So we've known about it for a while now, and it's really not that big of a deal. Like
Sorry, Dan. Steve, I just want you to listen to his story, right? And I want you to know how well it matches up with my story. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to go real in depth with it. The fact that I guess how we found out bothered me, but just once we got an explanation, I was fine with it. Like I said, it's months ago. And for the most part, it's just, you want to know why. You want an explanation why, just because being taken out of something like that could be bad, you know?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. We moved on. Like I said, it's been months now, and I haven't thought about it until, I don't know what happened yesterday. We were at a show all day in North Carolina. We had a seminar starting at 10, then we went straight to a meet and greet, and straight to the show had already started by the time our meet and greet ended. So we go straight to the back, change, get ready for the match, and then I drive back to the Charlotte airport because I have a flight at like 10:30 last night. And that's when I realized that the shit hit the fan. I don't know if I can say that. And I was like, what is going on with my phone right now? So yeah, I don't know why the news came out yesterday, because we've known about it for months. We've got it resolved. We figured it out, and that was really the end of it for us.
Which completely meshes with the exact story I told you.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
No, absolutely.
let me on it really quick, and then we'll move on from this stupid subject. After my fan said, we didn't care that we weren't in the video game. We cared that we were pulled out when we initially heard about it. We cared we were pulled out, thought we had done something wrong. Then we found out the reason why, and we're like, okay, that's fine, because we don't care about video games. What I care about is leaving a legacy behind in professional wrestling, being able to take care of my wife and daughter through professional wrestling, and that's it, and having fun with my best friend. That's all. We don't care about things.
As soon as we found out it wasn't bad news, it was fine. But when you're told you're taken out of a video game, you expect the worst because you don't know why. You find out why, it's good. So, okay, cool.
You move on.
Story. So, yeah, that's really the gist of it. I don't know what happened yesterday, but my God, what a day.
Yeah, I wanted just to address that because you know how people are going to be, oh, you guys didn't bring it up. And as a journalist, I just wanted to bring that up and let you guys clear that because we haven't heard from you guys regarding this story. So I
wasn't even going to comment on it because I didn't want to really give it credence. But
no, I agree.
I
appreciate it.
It is nice to let people know that there really wasn't. It was a non-issue.
You know, we'll go to this because you look at. I remember we talked at the end. We talked right when fans were allowed back into the arena last year, and you guys were very excited. And you get into 2022, and it's been a hell of a year for you guys. Do you look at this year as the greatest year for FTR?
Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, as far as like success, yes. I think 2016 maybe was like the best year like for us as like a coming out party type thing, because that was the year we really kind of broke onto the scene and like kind of made a name for ourselves and first started getting some buzz. So like for me, that was like huge because it was never supposed to happen type thing. Like we didn't know if we would ever have like a real future as a tag team when we started. So like for 2016 to come and for us to get some tag titles and for us to get some big matches on some big specials, I was like, wow, we've actually made it. You know, we're really doing it. But as far as like just having the time of my life and having like fun with my best friend, like we were saying, and doing things that are significant to us and like matter to us as far as like being fulfilled, which is a big reason why we wanted to like branch out and try new things. It's because we wanted to I like wrestling. Like yesterday we wrestled in front of, I don't know, 1,500 people, like in a packed little auditorium. And I love that. I love that atmosphere. Like I want to be able to do stuff like that here and there, and we can. So like, but winning all these tag titles, getting to work with some of the people we worked with this year, as far as just major successes and checking bucket list items for us, yeah, I would by far say it's our most successful.
Yeah. I think also it's probably our most rewarding year too. At least I think Dan too, or Cash too. Excuse me. Personally, man, last year, as we've spoke about, in great detail, was very, very dark for both of us. Dan, Cash tore his arm open, and I watched him, almost bleed out. And then at the same time, I was going through this dark period of anxiety, and I had no idea how to handle it. And so we had to do a lot of soul searching within each other, but also with each other. And to the point where, and I don't think he minds if I tell you, but to the point where he wanted to quit last year. He called me and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he called me after the arm thing, and he was in tears, man. He'll still kick everybody's ass, so don't mistake that. Sure. He called me in tears, and he was like, "Hey, I just want you to know that I think that I'm ready to retire. I think I want to quit. I'm not having fun." And we both started crying, and he was like, I've wanted to do this just for fun, I've wanted to do this for enjoyment, and not for money. And now I feel like I'm just doing it for money, and I feel like I care more about it than it cares about me. And he said, we both have separate contracts, so you can keep going. I don't want to hinder you or your family, but I think I'm going to quit. And so we had this long conversation, and, we talked about it, and then he helped me get out of my anxiety period too. And like anxiety breeds a lot of hardships, and so I was taking my anxiety out on wrestling because I would never take it out on my wife and daughter, but like I was bringing anxiety to work, and then work was causing And he told me, he said, look, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it. We're going to have fun doing it. We're not going to let it, mentally kill us and physically kill us. But if we're going to do it, let's have fun. And if we're not having, we're not going to do it. And man, I'm not kidding. After that speech, conversation, whatever he gave me, things started picking up and turning around for us. That's when Darby and Sting happened. That's when Darby, Sting, and Punk happened. Then Punk and Mox. And then all these things are rolling and getting into place. And that's how the universe works. And what I perceive to be, not everyone, but I perceive to be God and faith, that's how it all works. And so all that wrapped in, on top of the titles, on top of Bret Hart, working with us, that's why I think 2022 has been the most fulfilling, successful year of our career.
You look at 2022 and like how the year's gone, and we get to here and teaming with Wardlow. And what do you guys make of his progression so far this year? Because he's made monster improvements from the end of 2021 up until this point right now.
Oh man, I think he's made massive strides, like not just in ring, but just as far as his growth as a person, his character stuff, like understanding more about how everything works and making things like work for him. But I think it's just really like he's just scratched the surface at this point. Like he's still young, he's in great shape, he's smart, and he's talented. Like he's really good. And he's only had a couple of matches where he's had to really like go into deep waters and show what he can do. Like his first match was the cage match against Cody, which kind of was a glimpse, but he's grown leaps and bounds since then even. So like his mind now and his physical ability now, like he's ready to really, I think, carry the business. Like at some point he'll be the face of wrestling, or he's going to be one of the biggest names, most recognizable faces in wrestling, because he's handsome too.
Yes.
It sure is. Man,
and all those accolades that Dan just laid on him, man, above all, he's an incredible human being. Like he's a great person. And so he gets to show that, and he gets to take that personality and show that like he cares about kids, he cares about people. He cares about he cares about the fans and like giving them a show. My daughter's second favorite wrestler is Wardlow. I'm not even her first favorite wrestler. Sonny Kiss is her first favorite wrestler. Okay. So it's like Sonny, Wardlow, Uncle Dan, then maybe Dad somewhere. But he's just a great human being. He's a great dude. And on top of being talented, he gets to, just like we have now, invite people in, and he has the time of his life with them.
And 2 more questions, guys. And thank you so much for the time today. It's always appreciated. And
no problem.
You guys talked about Punk earlier, and you guys got to have a good little. It seemed like you guys were just getting ready to scratch the surface, and then he got hurt with his foot, and he's getting a lot of flack, and you guys know him better than most people. What do you make of all these characterizations of your guys' good friend, CM Punk?
I think it's a lot of things like from the past, mostly. I think there's a lot of old grudges. I think there's a lot of old biases. And I think there's a lot of unresolved issues that are kind of tainting how people react or see him now sometimes, because he's been nothing but like nice and helpful to anybody that wants it. Like, and I know there's underlying like animosity between, like, once you're in wrestling for so long, and especially at the top of it, there's going to be guys that don't get along because you're all vying for the same thing. You all want the same title, and egos are going to hit. Like, it's inevitable. It's like, I know there's going to be old tension, but as far as like how he is as a person now, he couldn't be more inviting. He couldn't be more company oriented as far as like what he's thinking, and anything to the contrary. I would really, I think it's uneducated to go off of it, because there's only been one side really that's all been the negative stuff, and he hasn't even really commented on it publicly because he's not going to give it that much time of day and that much notoriety because it doesn't deserve it. But I will say, like, especially there's 2 sides to every story, and then somewhere in the middle, that's the truth. Somewhere in the middle is the truth. He's been nothing but a great person, a great mentor to a lot of guys there, somebody who wants the best for the company. Like, that's why he's wanting the biggest houses, the biggest gates, the most fans in the arena. And so it's just, I think it's just going to be one of those things where time will tell. Over time, you'll see that he has been well-meaning. He has been doing some good stuff. And like I said, anything to the contrary is, in my opinion, just people being childish and behaving like middle schoolers.
Yeah, and insecurity. I'm not going to speak much on them because all that was perfectly put, but I'll tell you this, like, what's the better headline? CM Punk goes into business for himself and shoots on somebody or whatever, or CM Punk invites Will Hobbs into his locker room and explains to him for 30 minutes what he could have done to better himself for the match earlier. Or if the headline says CM Punk goes to Dan Housen, who came to him and asked for advice, watched his match, and then CM Punk gave him notes of advice of what he could do to better the match next time. Or if Brock Anderson says, hey, do you mind watching our tag match tonight? And CM Punk sits there, even though he's got a busy night, and watches it and says, hey, come into my locker room. Anybody else want to come into my locker room? Let's talk about this. What's the better headline? The more juicy headline is the one of him being going into business for himself.
The old Punk. And it's not.
The old Punk. And right now, I think I can safely say he's one of our best friends because we all share the same passion for professional wrestling. And sometimes passion gets mistaken for being an asshole, because you just want the best. And he wants the best for AEW. He wants the best for himself as well. We all do, but he wants the best for AEW, and he puts AEW above himself. I haven't met too many guys who has the love and passion for professional wrestling that he has. And I'll close on CM Punk with this and we'll move on. I wish a lot of the guys would look at it instead of saying, oh my God, this guy from WWE is here in AEW and he might be taking my spot, to saying, oh my God, this is a legit Hall of Fame background guy who has drawn money, who's made money for a big company, who doesn't want to go back to the big company.
And who came from nothing, made something of himself.
Let me work with him. And even if he's beating me, let me work with him, and that'll put me as a bigger star. That was my whole mindset going into the match. Punk let me call the whole match, but I knew just wrestling myself, Dax Harwood, just wrestling a legend like CM Punk puts me from here to here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we'll end with this. And this, to me, is more of a personal question. When you guys going to get a crack at these AEW World Tag Team titles? People keep asking me, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't talk to Tony too often, but I'll ask the source. You guys have been ranked.
You can just quote yourself because it's about the same.
You've been ranked longer than any tag team number one in AEW tag team history without getting a title shot.
I think we've now doubled our actual title reign length. I'm not joking. I really think have. It was like 62 days for the title reign. And we're at 19 weeks now, I think, as number one contenders. So,
to be fair, Dick, I don't know if my shoulder wants to have any more belts. I can't carry them in my bag. I start checking the bag, and I'm too cheap to do that. So I don't even know if I want them. Like, let's work, keep them, whatever. That's fine.
At this point, it's honestly just become funny because it's been such a long running thing, and like you were saying, we don't really need anything else right now. We have too much to carry as it is, and we get to work with people in Mexico. We get to work with the pay-per-views with the Ring of Honor is doing. We get to go do stuff with New Japan. So the schedule is already pretty crazy as it is. So it would be nice to add the AWs and have 4 titles here and have them all, because at the end of the day, more than anything, we want to be AEW champions, but the time will come. We're never going to lose focus on that. So when we're ready, maybe when we hit the 52-week mark as number one contenders, we'll cash in.
And it all goes back to the conversation Cash and I had whenever we were in our deep moment. Like, when it's ready to happen, it'll happen. And if it doesn't, oh well, it doesn't happen. I will say this though, I'm very pleased and very proud of Swerve and Keith Lee's title reign. I think they've done so well with the opportunities they've been given, the matches, their promos, actually trying to work together as a team, even though they weren't necessarily a real tag team. So I think the work they're doing is awesome, and they're carrying the tag team division pretty well.
Yeah, the way I'll just at this real quick. The way that it looked like they were going to team up for maybe 1 or 2 matches and then start like some sort of thing between themselves, and instead they worked that out and they've made this dynamic really cool where now like they're earning each other's trust and they're starting to understand that they got each other's back. Because like that's a real thing when you're doing tag team wrestling. You like if you haven't been tagging for a long time, you want to know that the other guy has your best interest in mind. It's like seeing them develop that and seeing like that play out on screen a lot, even in the ring, not just in promos. Really cool. So I hope they hold on to him for a little while, because when we do cash in, I'd love to work with them. But right now they're doing just fine. And you got the Acclaimed and Ass Boys coming up too. So I mean, there's plenty of stuff to go around. And like I said, we'll stick around for a little while longer, and we're going to be champions again before we end up calling it quits. So don't worry about us.
We're just along for the ride, brother.
I hope it's not the Ass Boys. You guys are too good. Not gonna lie. I try not to be like that. But they're getting over, which at the end of the day is the most important thing. They've become really they've really elevated themselves working with the Acclaimed, I feel like.
They've done a great job. Just, you know, they got here pretty early in their careers, and for a long time, you know, they were just doing pandemic crowd stuff and maybe doing some dark stuff here and there. So they've literally started at the bottom, and they've been really good about doing anything in any role they've been asked to do. And Billy's a great mentor for them because he understands like how they need to build themselves up, how they need to not always just make themselves the butt of a joke or something like that. So like he's done a really good job guiding them, but they've done a really great job of making the most out of everything they've done and been given. And like it's cool seeing them now kind of ascend up, and they're actually, you know, their own men. You know, they're standing on their own and they're doing really well. So it's cool.
I think I'll finish Ass Boys on this. No one gonna know how good. Oh, that was pretty. That sounded bad, huh? I'm gonna finish on the ass.
I popped.
We'll finish with Austin and Colton. They're one of those talents that are so good that you don't know how good they are unless you're in the ring with them, and they make everybody else look better. So I'll finish with that.
You can see them coming up on AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage. They're both taking place this Wednesday and Friday at the Now Arena in Chicago. I'm not saying Hoffman Estates, Illinois, right outside of Chicago, Illinois. And then FTR will be teaming with Wardlow against, those Motor City Machine Guns. Pretty cool to see you guys in the ring with them. I think that'll be a sight to see. And also Jay Lethal, you can catch All Out also from the Now Arena in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. You can watch it on the BR Live app and on traditional pay-per-view here in the United States. Guys, it's been a bit since we chatted. Thank you so much for the time. The best of luck on Sunday. And soon enough, I feel like the next time we talk, we're going to be having some more tag team gold. I just have a good feeling.
Fingers crossed.
We say that every week.
and Mr. Wheeler, go White Sox. And I'll root for the Braves, too.
I couldn't hear you over a World Series win. I couldn't hear you over the World Series win. Sorry, what was that?
I don't know if both teams are going to make the playoffs this year. It's not looking good.
It's all right, man. Don't cry.
I may. You guys have a good rest of the day, and good luck on Sunday.